Well, some of sport's greatest legends have joined politicians for a summit on tackling malnutrition in children. David Cameron welcomed the Vice President of Brazil to Downing Street this afternoon, along with footballing legend Pelé and Mo Farah, fresh from his gold medal success. Well, the aim of the event, called Race Against Hunger, was to find a new way to tackle the problem. So let's discuss the issue a little bit more. Here with me is Adrian Lovett, who's the European Director of the Anti-Poverty Group 1. So Adrian Lovett, good to see you. Tell us a little bit more about this summit at Downing Street this afternoon.
Well, it was a really good event, a really practical event, and as you say, brought together Mo, who inevitably was the star of the show, and it was fantastic to see him there, and very proud from the One campaign's point of view to be able to bring him to Downing Street with Pelé and Hailey. But also some really substantive discussion. But the problem is there are 170 million children under the age of 5 who are growing up stunted, literally impaired in their growth, in their brains as well as their bodies. It's a ridiculous position for us to be in the 21st century. And we just thought, having seen the extraordinary achievements that athletes can reach and have done in these last 2 weeks, why not apply the same ambition to a race against hunger? And that's what we're delighted to see the Prime Minister has really embraced, and great credit to him for that.
So the idea is that every child around the world could have the opportunity to be an Olympian?
Well, that's it. Think of how many of those 170 million could be not just Olympians, but doctors, scientists, teachers, politicians. You know, those are the people that we need to take this planet forward in future. And actually, a key part of it is the focus on Brazil, because in 4 years' time, of course, Brazil will host the Olympics. Brazil has got a great story on hunger and malnutrition. They've done a great job, made real progress, and with some great ideas which they were sharing at the meeting today. So the idea is that perhaps if we really pull together efforts of private companies, of governments and others, that we could get actually 25 million fewer children malnourished and stunted by the time of the next Olympics, which would be a terrific legacy.
So it's not just about committing government funds, it is about pulling in companies from the private sector as well. And while many applaud what you're doing, some have raised some notes of hesitation, you could say, suggesting that there are complications when you introduce multinationals, for example, who might have products that are unhealthy, for example, to sell and to push. Are there considerations to worry about there?
Well, I think the best multinationals want to work and expect to work within a framework of law and rules, and those have got to be organised by governments. And the example of milk formula, substitution for milk for small babies is an important one. And of course, companies have got to make sure they abide by the codes of conduct in relation to that. But I think the big picture today was very much the sense that if we're going to win this race against hunger, then we need more than just governments, more than just the British government and the Brazilians and African governments, but we need Unilever, who were there today. We need Gallup to think about how we understand what people are actually feeling in terms of how they feel about hunger, their own hunger. All sorts of having a part to play, as well as NGOs and campaigners like Save the Children and the One campaign.
And we're looking at the pictures there. You can see Mo Farah. I mean, you can see Pelé as well. But the man at the moment, Mo Farah, after winning his second gold medal last night, fantastic to have him behind this when he's someone who's doing so much anyway, isn't he? I mean, he was born in Somalia, and he's got his own charity to try and help the poor there. How much difference does he make to a campaign?
A huge difference. I mean, we first were talking to him about this about 6 months ago when he'd just come back from Somalia. He'd taken his wife and his daughter, who we've all seen in the last couple of weeks, to see where he grew up in the first few years of his life. And it clearly really affected him and his family, and that's why they established the foundation. And I think the fact that today, of all days, when he had a million other things to do, and frankly would be entitled to have a lie-in, he came to Downing Street, spent a lot of time, listened to the arguments, and put across his view that actually this is something he's seen with his own eyes. It's not something that in the 21st century we should be tolerating, and let's do something about it in time for the next Olympics.
So amid all that success, it's worth spending a little bit of thought and thinking about those less fortunate than ourselves and some of the athletes. Adrian Lovett, we really appreciate you coming in and talking to us about it. Thanks very much indeed. Now then, it's rather sunny. Let's get a